There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the Name. Hey, yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino is the Name, and in this video, I wanted to address some comments that were placed on one of my previous videos. So I have a video called Real Estate versus Trucking, and in that video, it caused some controversy. That video, I believe, challenged the way a lot of people saw the world or saw business or real estate or even trucking. And I want to be clear, that video was not about trucking versus flipping real estate. That's a different thing. We're talking about long-term buy and hold because it was an example from a conversation that I was having with a family member. And we were talking about a $70,000 example. He was looking at spending about $70,000 to either purchase a rental property and just hold on to it over a long period of time, or starting a trucking business and getting a truck and starting a trucking business, getting a driver in the truck and stuff like that. So I told him that it's not even close, that the trucking business is going to way outperform your long-term buy and hold. And now, if he was flipping the house or whatever, if he was flipping houses, then that could be fast money, right? But, you know, long-term buy and hold is very, very slow. And I wanted to use some numbers that I pulled from the internet, from CTA Trucking, and it says, what are the owner's average earnings? All right, so by the way, let's go back, because one of the questions that was on my video was, well, not questions, but a statement that was made on my video was, I forgot to mention appreciation of the home, right? So let's just break down what I'm actually saying in this video, because in the video, I'm telling you that any passive investment, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a passive investment, it is very hard for it to outperform an active investment. It's very hard. An active business versus a passive investment, it is very hard for that passive investment to outperform an active investment, right? When you go to work, and if you have a job and you go to work, you haven't put, almost more than likely, if you have a job, meaning you don't own the company, and you go to work, you haven't invested any money into that business. You're probably working with an infinite ROI because you're getting paid for your time. So maybe you factor in how much gas it took for you to get to work. If you work from home, maybe you factor the lights or whatever you factoring in order to do your job, right? That would be the investment that you put in. So if you don't own anything and you get a ride to work for free or however you get there, and you work 8 hours and you get paid $20 an hour or something, that's $160 for that day, you are pretty much working with all profit. Now, they're going to take taxes out. I'm not even talking about that kind of stuff, but I'm just talking about what you actually had to put in order to get the money. Now, when we start talking about a 10% return on investment, if you put in $100, let's say you buy something for $100 and you can make 110 on it, that $10 profit is your profit. That is a 10% return on that $100. So it's very different from going into something and just coming out with $160 versus coming out with $10 after you put $100 up. So when we're talking about these returns, even a 25% return is nowhere close to the infinite return that you get from getting money from a business or from an investment that you didn't put anything into. Now, we aren't talking about that in this situation, because in both situations you're putting money up, right? But when you're renting that house out, let's say you were to get a loan, whatever it is, and you're renting this house out, and let's say you got $800 per month that you're paying in mortgage, right? You got a little cheap house, paying $800 in mortgage, and you're renting it out for $1,200. that is still only a $400 difference over the month. Let's say you're able to rent that house that you're paying $800 a month for $2,000. Let's say you're renting that house for $2,000 a month, all right? That is still only $1,600 for the month. I mean, I'm sorry, 1,200. What did I say? 2,800. You pay $800 per month. $2,000 is what you rent it for. So you're getting $1,200 profit per month. That's great. If you can find a rental property where you can get it for, and you're paying $800 a month and you can rent it out for $2,000, that's crazy. Because believe me, there are people out there with an $800 mortgage and they're rented out for $900, $1,000, making $100 to $200 a month profit. But let's say you're one of the lucky ones and you can find a place where you're going to pay $800 a month and you can rent it out for $2,000 a month, and you're going to profit $1,600. That's great. That is great, right? Now let's look at trucking, right? Because it's still an active investment. So the average gross, most of this CTA trucking says most of their trucks gross between $4,000 and $10,000. And it says an owner operator may take home around $2,000 to $5,000 a week. So that's a profit of $2,000 to $5,000 a week per week, right? That means that's $8,000 to $20,000 per month, right? Because we're talking about per week. So we're talking $8,000 to $20,000 per month, okay? Not $1,200, which is great. If you can find a rental property that is paying you $1,200 profit per month, that's crazy, right? But that's not usually likely, okay? You know, I get about $425 per month profit from my rental property, but you know, it's passive, so you don't like physically doing any labor kind of for it or whatever. So that's kind of like, I guess, the sex appeal about it all. But that's not gonna make you the most money. So if you're looking for an investment that can give you a salary, right? Imagine making $8,000 a month. It's 12 months in a year. That's $96,000 profit. If you're making $20,000 per month for 12 months, that's $240,000 profit. That's profit. That's take home. It says they take that home, right? So between $96,000 and $240,000 take home. That is so far from $1,200 a month. Even if you're getting $1,200 profit from your rental property per month over 12 months, it's only like $14,000, $14,400, something like that. Like, that's not a lot of money when you're looking at the comparing it to $96,000, right? So that's the difference in what I was trying to say in the example, which I believe I said kind of, but just maybe not in all of these same exact terms or whatever. But when you're just looking at what could you do where you can hire employees? Could I hire employees if my profit for my business is $14,000 a year? Not like a real staff. Like, I couldn't hire a staff. I couldn't have a real employee. I couldn't, I can maybe get some part-time people. I pay a couple hours here and there every month to do some things, or a percentage, or 10% for the year. But $14,000 a year profit, that's not a lot of money. I would need a lot more rental properties. How many houses would I need to equal $240,000, if I'm getting a $500 profit, or $400 profit, or $300 profit? You're going to have a lot of rental property in order to equal up to one truck. One truck. And it says, an owner operator may take home around $2,000 to $5,000 a week, while an investor can profit $500 to $2,000 a week per truck, right? So one truck is always going to outperform a house, because it's an active investment. There's actually business being done. You're going and picking things up, dropping it off. And remember, this is profit. This is not like, I guess this is not this is taking into account the gas, the maintenance, the tires. It's taking into account all of that stuff, right? So when we're looking at this, it is almost impossible, unless you're flipping houses, for you to equate what this truck. Now, let's say you flip one house a year. Depending on what you're flipping the house for, the guys I know, Kelly and Gene, they flip multiple houses in a year, So Gene could flip 8 to 10 to 12, 14, 15, 16 houses. So when you're talking about that, he's doing massive amounts of flips, massive amounts of money is coming in. And, flips range between different prices. But if you flip one house a year, more than likely you would still not profit what a truck would profit over the course of a year. But if you flip multiple houses, but then again, if you're operating multiple trucks, it's kind of a toss-up. Both of them can make a lot of money, because you can definitely flip a house and make $100,000 profit. You definitely can do that. And a $200,000 profit is definitely possible. I know people who flip them and make millions, but they're flipping higher end like properties. But as far as just renting a house out, it's very hard for you to find a house that you're going to rent and make this kind of money from a $70,000 investment. And that was basically what I wanted to talk to about that video. Now, when we start talking about appreciation, because one of the comments was I left out, or I didn't address the appreciation of the house. And let's say they say house values double every 10 years or something like that. Okay, I can tell you that it's not the case in every situation. First of all, let's start there. I got a house in Macon, Georgia, and that house, I've had it 12 years, about going on 12 years. This will be the 12th year that I've had it. And it is worth about 30, 40,000 more than what I paid, but it hasn't doubled. And so you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. I didn't lose anything because I'm still going up in value. But if it took me 10 years to make 30,000, now I owe less on the house because I've been paying it down, and I've been renting it out. So even with all of the money that I made renting it out, I still have to replace the AC unit. I had to put a roof on it. I had to do things like that. So those costs set my profit. Let's say I profit $400 a month, right? Which I'm profit like $425. But let's say I profit $400 a month over the course of a year. That's $4,800, right? 12 months, $400 a month. It's like $4,800. So $4,800 over a 10-year time frame. That'll be like $48,000 if I didn't have other costs, right? So it would take me 10 years to profit $48,000. But once I start taking into account, okay, roof, I want to say, let's say close to 10,000, right? On this, fixing this roof, like 10,000 on the roof. So that brings my profit down to 38,000. Let's say AC unit is going to cost like 7,000, 8,000. I can't remember what the number was. I think it was close to 8,000. So the AC unit, so that's 18,000 total coming out of that 48,000. That leaves my profit of 30,000. And any other little things, plumbing issues, whatever else that might come up. Let's say that profit is about 25,000 over the course of 10 years. That's only $2,500 per year, right? That's $2,500 a year. That's just above $200 a month profit after everything, right? After I start taking out costs. And then let's say the value does go up. So let's say I profited $25,000 over those 10 years, and then the value of the house goes up $30,000 over a 10-year time frame. Okay, so we're looking at $50,000. Now, also that profit that it is going up, the appreciation that it is going up, is frozen in the house unless I cash out and refinance the house and I pull the money out. But other than that, the value is in the house still. So unless I sell the house or take another loan out on the house, then that value is just stored in that house. But when you have an active business, say we're talking about this trucking business, you have an active trucking business, all of that is profit. All of that, whatever your profit is, 12,000 for the month that you done profited, 20,000, 8,000, whatever that is, you get to keep that. You don't have to pull that out or take a loan against that. You don't have to do any of that, right? So there's a huge difference. You can take care of your family from a truck. You can't take care of your family from one rental property. It just doesn't. Like, I don't know anybody who can rent one house, a traditional house, and talking about a multi-million-dollar, mansion that you rent into, rappers or football players or billionaires or something like that. We're just talking about a traditional home that the average person can afford, because you can't afford a multi-million-dollar house, a $10 million house, if you are, just trying to start out and you ain't really got no money, but you might be able to qualify with your job working at FedEx to get into a $150,000 house that you can in turn one day rent out or something like that, or go straight into it as an investment property. But that will not pay you and your family, pay for you to be able to like just do that. Like, you're gonna have to still work and do that. Like, that might be extra money, but it's nothing crazy. Trust me. So I just wanted to address some of that. So this is my response to some of the comments that I have on my real estate versus trucking video. And anyway, right now you're watching Casino Is the Name, man. If you find any value in this video, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we out. Hey, yo, what's going on? Right now you're watching Casino Is the Name, and if you wanted to know how I started my trucking business, I have an ebook called Big Shot, Hot Shot Volume 1, Own Your Trucking Authority. It's a great book, 5-star reviews. The link will be in the description below. Go get that. Yeah.
Beat me up, Scotty. Me and
her together, we just count it up. Money on my mind, I can't get enough. Don't play with my money, you don't want no beef. Cause I come from the bottom, I come from the street. When she first saw me, she said, who is that? When a man saw me, he called me a threat. I'm the one that really live with a rap. They ain't never did it, they ain't really trap.
You say you want to be successful, but what's stopping you? Can't nothing stop you from being successful except for you. You standing in your own way. I came from the bottom. I ain't know nothing but the grind. You can't tell me nothing about that. I caught the bus at Basin Street Projects in Tallahassee, Florida. You hear me? I used to think $1 million would last me my whole life. I'd have made that and spent that. $1 million ain't enough. There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino Is the Name.